So with the Lakers cruising through to an NBA Finals, I think the rest of the league understands that it has ways to go before they get anywhere near the level of the Los Angeles Lakers. And to be honest with you, this upcoming free agency is kind of underwhelming, and I'm not really expecting any of the draft picks to come in and change contenders since they're picking late anyways. So I'm thinking a lot of trades are going to go down. I'm going to go over all the players I think are most likely to get traded, possibly to your favorite team. And then I'm going to go over the likelihood of it and exactly maybe where they could possibly end up landing. And yeah, let's get straight to the video. First, I'm going to start off with honorable mentions. I'm going to go start off with Gordon Hayward. The reason why I have him in honorable mention, he has an expiring contract next year. It's a lot of money, so you're going to have to be able to afford him this year. But I think he could move. But at the same time, I just don't see the intrigue in Hayward. Like I said, it would have to be a team that has a good amount of cap space anyways. And you'd have to think that Gordon Hayward is going to bring you a lot of value. And I don't really know that many teams who have a good amount of cap space are contenders, because a non-contending team, I don't know why they'd bring him in. And also have the tradable assets to acquire him along with the cap space. So that's why I think it's not as likely that Gordon Hayward gets traded. But I wouldn't be surprised if he did. Next up, we have Rudy Gobert, Mike Conley. So this one's an interesting one because Mike Conley, Rudy Gobert, the Jazz, they could possibly think about running it back with Donovan Mitchell. But if I'm the Jazz front office right now, that team is not working. They blew a 3-1 lead, and they weren't impressive the year before that, getting swept by the Rockets, I think, in the first round. So if I'm looking right now, I'm looking to move rather him or Conley. All right, to round off the honorable mentions, I'm going to include Russell Westbrook ? All right, the reason why I say this is I don't know what to make of the Rockets, right? They had a very underwhelming season. They traded Chris Paul's contract, which only expires, in 2 years, for a worse Russell Westbrook contract, considering Chris Paul is a much better off-ball player than he is, much better three-point shooter. It would have made sense for that small ball lineup. And they pushed the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. So I was a little confused on why they did that anyways, but now you see how their general manager just got fired. And now the question mark is, what's going to happen with James Harden? Like, is his career going to be full of empty playoff runs and no championships? Is it over for him? Because unless they move Russell Westbrook and maybe like a Robert Covington, that's why I don't have Russell Westbrook as the asset that I think is going to be traded. But I don't know how they're going to bamboozle a trade out of it. So I don't know exactly which players are going to be leaving the Rockets. But if I'm the new Rockets general manager, I am looking to move someone.
Get him out of here, coach!
All right, now to start the actual list, number 10, I have DeMar DeRozan. Now, I could see the Spurs kind of running it back one last time and just give it a chance since they had the whole Kawhi Leonard trade. But I really think on an expiring contract, he makes a good amount of money. I think he could go to a team that's possibly contending. I'm looking at maybe a team like the Blazers. Or maybe even like a team like the Miami Heat. I don't know, maybe they want to run it back with him. I could see that definitely some suitors there. It's kind of just depending on how much the Spurs really value him. And but if I were the Spurs front office, I'd be looking to move DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge. DeMarcus Aldridge is going to be he's going to be a conversation for another day. But yeah, so next up we have Bradley Beal. Now you're wondering why I didn't save him for last, like on some crazy trade deal. Now I am a Miami Heat fan. Okay, I would love to have Bradley Beal in there, but it seems as if Bradley Beal, from what I'm hearing, looks like he wants to run it back with John Wall. And if I'm the Wizards, I might want to give this one last try before you go fully into rebuild mode. But the thing that makes me optimistic about Bradley Beal being traded to possibly the Miami Heat or like the Brooklyn Nets is he is a 1-year contract. He's on an expiring contract, $28 million. The only thing is you have to trade assets. But if you're the Miami Heat, you push the Lakers to 6th in the finals. I don't think you just want to sit out next year or have the same results as other teams get better. So I can see them trying to make a push for Bradley Beal. But I think what's going to be the determining factor is just for having him for a year, are you going to give up a ton of assets? Now, a team that I think could do that is the Brooklyn Nets. Okay, they have a lot of young assets, and they could realistically trade him and still keep Dinwiddie or Garrett Allen. They're probably gonna have to pick one of them. Karis LeVert's definitely gonna have to go be a serious contender in the East. I think both of those teams should be on the Wizards phone line talking about a Bradley Beal trade. Now let's get to the ones that I really think are gonna be going through. So Victor Oladipo is the next one. He's voiced. Seems like he might want out of the Pacers. He is on an expiring contract. It's not horrendous. I could see the Lakers going for him. They're probably going to have to give up a little more than Danny Green and Kyle. Obviously, first round pick. Maybe, I don't know, work out a trade. Maybe a 2-team, 3-team trade. Yeah, but maybe the Heat too. Like I said, if I'm the Miami Heat, I'm still looking to add one guy on an expiring contract so you can contend next year before you obviously, you don't want to commit to anyone past, so you can get into the 2021 free agents, but you don't want to, take a step back next season. Try to improve, so I could see him being a possible asset for them. It could be a possible asset for a plethora of teams. I think the Pacers are definitely going to be moving him because he is on an expiring contract. And yeah. All right, next up we have Jrue Holiday. Yes, he is going to be a guy that everyone's going to be talking about this upcoming offseason. The reason why I think he's going to be traded, Pelicans, they have Zion, they have Brandon Ingram, they have Lonzo. Doesn't really fit the timeline. He does have, I think, 2 years left on his contract where he's making around $26-27 million a year. So it can't be a team that's looking, for a possible 2021 free agency signing. So the two teams that I've highlighted to get him are the Denver Nuggets and the Portland Trailblazers. So the Denver Nuggets, I think they have a decent amount of assets to be able to trade for Jrue Holiday. They would bring in a guy who can play really good defense, give them some scoring there. They might then have to they're definitely gonna have to get rid of Millsap, and then I don't know. Let me think. Maybe they'll be able to keep Grant, but I don't know. He might demand a little bit more money than they would like after his postseason performance. The Portland Trailblazers, I would definitely be looking at this. They got off. I think they're off the Whiteside contract this offseason, so they're probably looking to add another player to possibly, run it back with Dame Lillard. And I think he's a guy, I don't really know. They don't really have trading assets, which is the issue with them. But they could try to trade for Jrue Holiday somehow, somewhere if they can get that done. But I definitely think he will be a guy that could definitely be on the move. All right, next up we have Derrick Rose. Man, oh man, how we would all like to see Derrick Rose get a championship. Lakers fans, Bulls fans, every fan in the NBA wants Derrick Rose to succeed. All right, so I think the Pistons, he's on an expiring contract. He's not getting paid that much money. The fact that he gets paid less than Danny Green is a complete and utter shock to me. But nonetheless, what's he? $7 million. So it's not going to be hard for a team like the Lakers to sign him. We've been hearing about the Lakers being interested in signing him. I'm assuming if Rondo ends up demanding more money and leaving there, I think that'd be a great addition to that team. I think they do have the assets, as long as possibly, they might have to give up a first-round pick or a second-round pick. But I definitely think the Pistons will be looking for a first-round pick. The Lakers can provide them that. I know I like the Clippers should be kind of aggressive in trying to get him too, because he at least would be affordable. But the issue is, I think the Pistons are going to go with a team that throws in the first-round pick, and I don't really know what the Clippers have left to give after they traded a bunch of first-round picks to Marcus Morris. For Marcus Morris, it was ridiculous. They kind of screwed themselves there outside of just a Paul George trade. But Derrick Rose will definitely be on the move. So Derrick Rose fans out there, he might get his ring sometime soon. Last but not least, I have actually nope, there's one more. I forgot the star of this list. But before I get to him, I'm going to talk about Aaron Gordon or Vucevic. Now, the Magic, I know they made the playoffs, but 8th seed in the East is Wizards could have possibly gotten that, okay? It's not an impressive feature. I think it's time to move on. You can get trade value for both of them. I obviously think you can get more trade value for Vuce. But one of them definitely is going to be moving this offseason. I don't understand why you'd keep both. Saved him for last, of course. If you guys don't know who I'm about to talk about, Chris Paul. Of course. I will say OKC, great job getting rid of Russell Westbrook and Paul George for all that. Clearly they realized that probably weren't going to win a championship with those two, and mostly because just Westbrook is not really effective for a guy playing with guys who are also needing the ball. And they ended up getting a guy making it to the Western Conference playoffs, and then, you know, giving the Rockets, Chris Paul's old team, a run for their money in the first round. Now, Chris Paul will definitely be moved because he has a pretty expensive contract, has 2 years left on it, and I know that this is a team that's trying to rebuild. They have a lot of assets coming through. They have some young players that are going to be playing a lot of minutes next season. They want to give a lot of players a chance. So Chris Paul will definitely be on the move, in my opinion, unless they have this unrealistic dream that they could possibly, maybe, I don't know, use the assets to trade for good players themselves. I have no idea. Maybe they want to run it back with Chris Paul. But more likely than not, Chris Paul will be getting moved. Now, the question is, to where do I think he's going to move? Lakers fans, let's get back into reality. He is not going to the Lakers. There's no assets that the Lakers have that I would want for Chris Paul. I'd rather just run it back with Chris Paul instead of getting Danny Green. That is so disrespectful. Now, I think the team that I believe will possibly get him is the Milwaukee Bucks. That's a team that, to me, has the assets. They have the need for it. I really think a serious starting point guard. Jordan Hill is a good backup, but a serious starting point guard who can also play off ball, who can shoot the ball really well, is the type of player, the type of leader that I feel like the Bucks were kind of missing last season, that they really need. His veteran leadership in the playoffs is going to be very valuable. I think Chris Paul will be going there. They will probably trade for him. That's what I'm predicting. I don't think they can win with this Eric Bledsoe and lineup that they have going on. So I definitely will expect that move, and I have the Bucks locked down as a team that I think will acquire him. But yeah, these are the players that are going to be on the move. I'm telling you, man, teams are going to be working really hard this offseason to get their teams to be as good as they are. They could possibly be to compete against the Lakers, because Anthony Davis and LeBron are two top five players in the whole world. So you're going to need a lot more to compete with them. Yeah, thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, leave a like, share, and then, of course, subscribe to the channel. Likes really do help out the YouTube algorithm. So if you do that, it's going to help me out, because I'm trying to grow to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Hopefully I can do that. Yeah, I'm going to see y'all, man. Enjoy the rest of the offseason.
Yeah, walk up in the room, what it do? She waving at you, dude. Buy a drink or two. Buy a drink or two. Be real nice to her. She might like ya, and she might